Have you noticed that the first time you tried something new, it felt very uncomfortable? Maybe speaking in the public, or driving a car, or using a new app, or even when you want to start sleeping or waking up early. It was very, very awkward. So today I want us to talk about how to train your brain for growth. But before we get to that, let me explain to you how your brain works and how it forms the comfort zones around you. The primary aim of your brain is not to grow you, but it's just to protect you. Your brain is there for survival and not even for your expansion. So, for every information or anything that happens around you, your brain is asking one question: is this thing safe or is it risky? So, how does your brain protect you? It protects you because it stores every experience that you have. So anything that feels familiar, that feels predictable, that feels like a previous thing that you have survived before, your brain will mark it as safe because it's something that it understands. But anything that previously that happens and it is new or uncertain or unfamiliar, your brain will mark it X and begin to scream that this is risky. That's how your brain works. So for example, the first time that you spoke in the public, your heart was racing and it was palpitating. The first time that you tried something new, you hesitated. Why? Not because it was a dangerous thing you wanted to do, but your brain was saying, hey, watch it, I can't recognize this thing, so you need to be careful about it. So, how does your brain form the comfort zone? Over time, your brain begins to create what we call a safe zone based on the things that you've seen before, the things that you've done before, and the things that you've survived, and even the things that you have repeated. This becomes your comfort zone. So for example, if you're someone who has always avoided conversation, then avoidance would become comfortable for you. If you're someone who always shifts important tasks and procrastinates, you will see that procrastination will become something normal for you. If you are someone who has stayed in a familiar environment, no matter how small it is, then you would see that that smallness will become your safe zone, right? So your comfort zone is not something random. No, it is what we call trained familiarity. It is something that your brain accepted and it sees as familiar. So why does it then feel very hard to change? You know that you need a change. You know you need an upgrade, but it feels so hard for that to happen. Why? This is where it gets interesting, because whenever you try to grow, maybe you want to learn a new skill or you want to take a bold step to try something, guess what happens? Your brain reacts. It reacts with resistance or fear or self-doubt or hesitation. Now, why would that happen? It's not because you can't do what you're supposed to do, but your brain is trying to protect you from the unknown. Now, the unfamiliar is not dangerous, but your brain treats it as if it is a danger that is coming to you. So when we talk about comfort zone, I want you to understand this. Comfort zone is not your enemy. They are just your brain saying, you need to be very careful because I don't understand this particular thing that is happening around here. It doesn't feel safe. So the problem is not comfort. The problem is living in a comfort zone that is too small to accommodate all that your potential entails. So the goal is not to destroy the comfort zone or by destroying your brain. The goal is to expand it because your brain is trainable. And you can train your brain in 3 steps. The very first step that you use to train your brain is awareness. Awareness comes first in everything because the moment you know, you are empowered to begin the journey of change. So if you recognize where comfort is limiting your growth, then you are ready to begin the change. Growth starts when you recognize patterns in your life. So for example, you always delay learning something new, or you avoid conversations that require confidence, or you stick to old routines that no longer produce results. And you say things like, I will do it later, or I don't think I'm ready for this now, or let me stay here because this is what I know and what I understand. Those things are not just mere excuses. Those things are signals. Signals that the comfort zone is protecting you, but not just protecting you, but it's also limiting you. So another example is you've been in the same routine for years, the same approach, the same effort, the same results. And deep down inside of you, you're telling yourself that this is not all that I can be, that there is more to me than what I can see right now. Now, that is awareness. That's awareness is saying, this area of my life, I'm too comfortable with it and it's costing me. I need to do something about it. So you must have to, first of all, become aware before any tangible change will begin to happen in your life. Then the second step that you must have to take is that you must have to engage in small stretches. Small stretches. Growth doesn't require reckless leaps. No. That's one mistake a lot of people make, and they get everything wrong. They think that growth simply means that you quit your job suddenly and then you start off something massive immediately and change your life overnight. No, it doesn't work that way. That's not growth. What you're doing is that you're putting pressure on your life and on yourself. Real growth is taking small steps in a smart way. That's what real growth entails. For example, if you are afraid of speaking, the first thing to do is not to go and get a big stage and fill people up in the stadium and start speaking to them. No, that's not the first thing. The first thing could actually be for you to speak in small groups. It could be to contribute in a meeting. It could be to record short videos that you can put out there, and it will begin to give you confidence. If you want to improve your income, for example, you don't abandon stability suddenly and then jump out there, because what that will do is that it will cause a lot of chaos in your life. What you could do is by starting with learning a skill somewhere in the evening. You can start with offering your services somewhere by weekend, not stopping what you're doing. Or you can actually start helping people within your circle. That's actually a way to go about it. If discipline is something that is a challenge to you, you don't overhaul your whole life at once. You know why? Because your brain will start screaming, no, stop, don't do it again. Even if you successfully do it for the first day, the second day, the third day, the next thing that will happen is that there will be a brain fatigue. Why? Because your brain doesn't like that and it wants to shut it down by all means. After some time, you see yourself not trying again because your brain still doesn't understand it. So, if you want to overhaul your life and change discipline, maybe what you could start with is waking up 30 minutes earlier than you used to wake up. One thing you could do is to complete a task daily. That could be what you would tell yourself. Or reduce distraction gradually. It must take small stretches for that doesn't feel very comfortable. But the good thing is that it will not overwhelm you. It will be uncomfortable, yes, but you will not be overwhelmed. You'll be able to go one step at a time. You can actually start with something as minor as taking a cold bath. Yeah. You have always done hot bath, right? And it's comfortable. Try a cold bath. Try something that is outside the confines of your comfort. And you will see that growth will begin to happen. The key is not for you to just grow sporadically like that, because that will shock your system and make you return to where you are or even worse. What you just need is small stretches at different times, because that's what growth entails. Now, the third step that you must have to take is repetition. Your brain can adapt, and that is where transformation actually happens, because your brain is elastic. The size of your brain right now is the size of the information and the ways that you've allowed to go in repetitively. If you actually consciously begin a journey of repeating certain things, you know what will happen? Your brain will expand and accept those things. I want you to think about it like this. Remember the first day you drove, right? It was stressful. They were telling you to engage the gear and then put on the indicator and put your leg on the accelerator. Everything is happening at once. And they're telling you to also hold the steering at the same time. It feels very stressful. But because you continue doing it over and over and over again, guess what happens? Today, it's almost automatic. You even drive sometimes and you're gisting with someone while driving. The first time that you used your smartphone, can you remember? The first time you got a smartphone and not just the touch and all those things that we used to use then, right? To find where different apps are was a bit a Herculean task. But today, it's no longer confusing. You do it effortlessly. Why? Because you've continued repeating it over and over and over again. The same thing applies to the growth that you're waiting for. At first, it will feel uncomfortable. At first, it will feel very unnatural. At first, it will feel difficult. But remember that nothing is actually difficult. It is just unfamiliar. The more you familiarize yourself with it, guess what happens? And you do that familiarization through repetition. I hope you got that. Now, guess what happens? It becomes easier. It becomes familiar, and it also becomes normal. For example, speaking becomes natural to you. Then discipline becomes like a routine, like a second nature. Your confidence will grow, and it will be as if that was how you were born. No, it's simply because there was a change that happened repetitively. It continued until you became who you are. So everything you can do well today, you can do well simply because you repeated the actions. Why don't you start the repetition of growth, the action to grow in your life? Your brain literally expands its definition of normal. What once felt uncomfortable would naturally become your new comfort zone. So, the more you expand your brain, the more you accept certain things, the more those things that were outside your comfort zone will actually come in and become part of your comfort zone. So, let's bring it all together. Growth is not about fighting yourself. No, it's about training yourself. So first, you become aware of where you are stuck today. And then you stretch yourself gently but consistently. Then those stretches that you did successfully, you repeat them over and over and over again until it becomes second nature. Then over time, something powerful happens to you. Your life that was once very difficult and felt very difficult will become a life that you handle effortlessly without any challenge. Let me leave you with this thought. The goal is not to destroy your comfort zone. No, because if you do that, it's like destroying your life. The goal is to expand it until it includes everything that you need for your life to become better and become more comfortable. Because your future is not outside your reach. Your future is just outside your current comfort zone. All those beautiful things that you're looking for, they are just outside your current comfort zone. So your comfort zone limit is here, and the future you're looking for is somewhere here. Why don't you keep expanding and expanding and expanding and expanding until it covers and envelopes that life that you're looking for? You don't need to rush it. You don't need to fear it. You don't need to hesitate. All you just need to do is start stretching. Do it consistently. Keep going, little by little. And you know what will happen? Your brain will begin to play catch up. Why? Because you're repeating something and it's understanding that, this person needs this. And then it opens up and accepts that. You try something else. Oh, this person needs this. When you repeat it over and over again, it accepts it. And that continues to expand your comfort zone until everything outside it that you desire will come to you. And when you do that, you will see that your life will change. Your life will transform. This has been Ace with Okwi, the Wealth Maestro. I'm super excited that you joined me today. Please follow me on all social media platforms at Okwi W Maestro. Let's continue to share thoughts together because all we want to do is to achieve clear excellence. Cheers.